So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something I care deeply about our country. And I wanted to talk to you about some of the heroes I have in the country I know. And I know that our country was forged in blood on April 18th, 1775, in the Battle of Concord and Lexington. That was where patriots gathered, right after Paul Revere's ride, and stood up against the British, who thought they would roll over America. And they repulsed the British and sent them back to Boston, because they were patriots who believed that they had rights, that they had natural rights that couldn't be trampled upon. And that's something that I look at today. I see our country is at a very similar point. We need to have similar patriots stand up to defend those rights, because they are under assault. Make no bones about it. Our country is under assault from the radical liberal agenda. And there are natural rights that we have that we cannot give up. And I look to another one of my heroes, Thomas Jefferson. And a year later, after Lexington and Concord, he wrote what I think is very much the soul of our country, the soul of our nation. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. And in that he wrote that it is not only our right, but our duty, that when our rights are trampled on, when our natural rights are trampled on, we must change our government. And that's what we must do today. We must take heed of those words, because our country is under attack. We've seen it in Albany with the microstamping issue. We've seen that. It's under attack. Good people, good citizens, who otherwise may not be interested in politics, when they see that their rights are being infringed, we have to stand up and fight against that. And you know what? It looks bleak right now, maybe. It might look bleak. You might see that the liberal left is gathering, that even some forces on our side may be too involved in the government to really make a clear choice and stand with patriots. But you know what? It also looked bleak in the winter of 1776, when George Washington was retreating from New York. When George Washington was retreating from New York back through New Jersey. But George Washington had the heart. He had the skill. He had the vision. And he knew that by counterattacking the British, by crossing the Delaware in the dark of night, by counterattacking the British and scoring a major victory for our country, he knew that he would give his troops morale. And with that morale boost, our troops went on and won the Revolutionary War. We can do the same thing today. We can do the same thing today. We need to unite behind the right candidates. We need to stand for the right things. And you know what I stand for? I stand for less government, lower taxes, tightening our budget. Just like I have to do in my small business, we know that we need to do the same thing with government. And that's something that I think is important. I see Paul in the audience. I know immigration is a big issue for you. That's something that we need to take on as a federal government. We need to secure our borders. We have to do that. This is a national security issue. It is imperative that we do that. Thank you, Paul, for your leadership on that issue. We need the leadership in Washington to do it. We need people who will stand up and say, it's not right that earmarks are put out in the middle of the night that bloat our budget deficit, and we're going to be handing a bloated budget deficit to our children and grandchildren. That is not right. We have to stop that. We need to send people to Washington who will stop that. I'll tell you one thing you might not know about me. Something interesting, which is that I want to go to Washington. Not because I want to be somewhere, but because I want to make a difference. I care about the opinions of the people in this room. I don't care about lobbyists in Washington. My grandfather was President Nixon. I could care less about talking to lobbyists. What I care about is representing you in Washington, D.C. That is what I care about. Those are the only lobbyists I care about, are the people in this room and the people of the 1st Congressional District. And I promise you that if you send me to Washington, I will take with me the spirit of our great leaders like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and I will take those principles that made our country great, and I will apply those principles every day when I vote, thinking, what would you in this room do? Because that is the only lobbyist I care about. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope to have your support. Please sign my petitions in the back, and together we will knock out Tim Bishop and restore a Republican conservative Congress to power. So thank you very much.